Did you hear Bill Polian like a week ago on this network?
I did.
Yes, say that Chad
He
Kelly was the most
said
talented.
The best quarterback on the Broncos roster was Chad Kelly. So let's revisit the question you just asked me. Did Elway bungle the quarterback situation in Denver? How do you arrive at, unless Chad Kelly is like, if this is more a statement about Chad Kelly than it is about Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch. In other words, Chad Kelly is all of a sudden turned into Dak Prescott. If that's not true, the answer has to be yes. He's bungled the Denver Broncos quarterback situation. And everything in sports is reduced to, do you like him? Do you not? It's not. I like John Elway.
Right.
I think John Elway's a really good GM. I think he's messed this quarterback situation up, and I think we got lied to for a year about whether or not they had interest in Tony Romo. It was consistently not interested, not interested. And some of that was because they had to say that because he was technically a Dallas Cowboy. But to continually say, this is not a player we're interested in, unequivocally, and then a year later admit, yeah, that was actually somebody we were interested in, to me, that's the stuff that just really gets under my skin no matter how much I like you.
Yeah, I was one of the founding members of Romo Island last season, talking about how I think Tony Romo might have been better for that Cowboys team once he got healthy. So I'm all in on Romo and how good he was and how good he would make this team. But it's impossible to say that Elway bungled it if we don't know what the offer actually was. Tony Romo was not a free agent. Tony Romo was his rights were with the Cowboys. So you don't know what the Cowboys wanted in return for them to get Tony Romo. So I can't say that he bungled it because he's been a great GM. He's built one of the best defenses this league has ever seen. And if they wanted in return some of those pieces, then I would say no. You don't break down the strength of your team for an aging quarterback. And maybe this team's window goes further. They can potentially find another quarterback out there. If we are to believe Bill Polian that they don't have a good quarterback on this roster right now, then they can find another quarterback. If you have to get rid of that talent on that defense, I think it's not worth it. So I don't think that we can say that he bungled this necessarily.
I just think we've built the Church of Elway. And if you worship at the Church of Elway, there is no way you can question anything that ever comes out of Denver. And I don't think that's appropriate. I think he's great and has built a great team over 5 years, and this quarterback situation will ultimately be their undoing. And that Tony Romo was a way to extend that window. You're right. I don't know what the Dallas Cowboys would have required. But the odds are, if the options were lose him to the broadcast booth for nothing or get some minimal return, I'm going to guess the Broncos probably didn't have to give up the farm to get Tony Romo.
Yeah, maybe you're right. However, it is also true, like, trying to denigrate the Church of Elway is one thing. I don't necessarily think that he needs to have a church, but I was drafted by the Broncos. I spent a lot of time in Denver. He means a lot to that city, but what he's done after his playing career has been hugely impressive. The one thing, he is one of the few GMs that actually made decisions that I think actually impacted the single decision of bringing in Peyton Manning. Like, they would not have won a Super Bowl without that, and that's an isolated decision. You go through the decisions that they made in the draft and free agency and the way that they found some gems and built up that defense, it's hard for me to argue with his results going forward. And I think that if it was someone else, if it was Bill Belichick, I think you might feel differently about whether he did the right thing or not.
No, I like Elway. He's done great. I think I respect him, too.
You brought up the Church of Elway thing shows to me that it's more than just this decision. It's about you being bothered that all people are in on, that all these people are in on Elway.
I think you reach cult status, and then it's like, you shall never criticize. And somehow Elway's reached that status both with his pre- and post-career.
I don't know about that. I think that expectations are always tempered when a player makes a move to a front office because you're not sure if he's going to be able to do it, and he seems to have done it very well.